Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Blue Ridge, Silver Freaking Hound in the house. I'm your host, Sean. Welcome to another coin collecting video in which today we're going to tackle the unscrupulous practice of something called shill bidding and how it might affect you not only as a seller and as a buyer as well. So I want to thank everyone for joining again. If this is your first time here and you love coin collecting or you like collecting stuff in general, then this is probably the spot for you. So, I'm keeping it real on all these videos. I might talk way too much and I apologize in advance, but when you're passionate about the hobby and everything that's encompassed around it, you better believe that I'm going to have a lot to say about it. So in this particular video, okay, let's say you're just teetotaling around on eBay. You find a really nice coin that you're going to pick up as an investment piece, or maybe you want to enhance a type collection, or maybe you just want something that's kind of a statement piece for your overall collection of just random stuff. Baseball cards, comics, you name it. Coin collecting has always been the #1 type of hobby when it comes to high market value and collectability and liquidity later on down the road. You better believe it that there's a lot of hype surrounding the coin collecting community, and it couldn't be more real and legit than it is today. So times are a little bit different, okay? There's great dependence on online sales, e-commerce, okay? So people these days, it's April 2020, you figure out what's going on, okay? We're in the middle of a little bit of a crisis here, a health crisis. People are quarantined at home, and we got to figure out ways how we could kind of, scratch that retail itch a little bit if you're a collector, and it's obviously going online. One of the biggest outlets, short of Amazon, is eBay. People love auctions. People love sitting there till the last second, putting in their final bids. But what happens? You're sitting there putting in final bids in that last minute of the auction, and all of a sudden, the price of the value of the item just goes out of whack, out of this obscene territory you call overpriced. It's like, what in the world just happened? Okay, you end up losing the auction, but that's fine. There's more layers to the story that we'll get to. So, yeah, I haven't said anything about what's on screen. Okay, so something's fishy going on with an auction you're bidding on. It happens all the time. I've been a part of it in the 20 plus years that eBay has been a thing, but it also exists in other auction sites. Heritage, Great Collections, Stacks. We're going to talk about those as well. Shill bidding is what we're talking about, and a few preventative steps from this bleep practice. I'll let you fill in the blanks, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at a prime example of the most scumbaggiest, unscrupulous auction listing that I have seen. It is blatant how terrible the shill bidding is on this particular auction. So I will call out a seller, obviously, because the practice is being made. All right, and I'm probably going to get a little feedback, a little bit of criticism about, how I'm taking money out of this person's pocket. But when you're stealing 5 figures from collectors, okay, then it warrants a quick shout out, not in a good way. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right in to eBay. Yeah, you weren't supposed to see that, but anyways, we're on eBay. I'm just kind of like drilling down on some of the highest priced coins that have sold in the last 90 days. Okay, so that's from what, early February all the way up to where we're at right now, toward the latter end of April. And I come across this particular gem right here, a 1918 Lincoln Wheat Cent AU Red Planchet Error, in which it sold for $10,500 with shipping at $2.98. Well, geez. If I were spending that kind of money and it was only $2.98 for shipping, that's not going to be a very safe shipment in itself. Obviously, you'll want insurance on any type of extraordinary value coin, like this gem of a coin that you see on screen right here, but there is definitely something wrong. I can tell you this right now, based off of the image. This coin has been scrub-a-dub-dub right in the tub, cleaned. I'm telling you, it looks like someone took a Brillo pad or something to this sucker, and it is toast. Okay, the coin is worth a penny. All right, so apparently it sold for $10,500 March 29th of 2020. There is something definitely afoot here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go ahead and click right into the listings just for kicks and giggles. And as you can see, it was sold by Northeast Auction, okay? And it looks like they have a really established eBay account with over 54,000 feedbacks, okay? They even got the little purple shooting star that is just, you know, it's high and bright and it's going into the next stratosphere, and that's all well and good, okay? Some of this might all be smoke and mirrors. We're going to find out. So the first thing that comes to mind is that this is not a traditional bin or buy it now auction, okay? There were 17 total bids on this coin, and we are going to take a look at the bids here in a second because that's where all of the juicy action comes around. But there you go. There's your 1918. Wow. What a beautiful specimen. That's like a lipstick on the proverbial pig. Looks like, you know, it could pass for a little bit of striations from lamination or an improper alloy mix, but laminations do not command 5 figures by any stretch. It doesn't matter if it's a early Morgan Carson City with a lamination. Okay, they are more times than not a negative factor on the high-end kind of collectible graded coins. So I'm looking at this coin, I'm like, $10,500. Okay, there's a sucker born every minute. Okay, that's kind of like the age-old adage when it comes to just, you know, this type of thing. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the bids. Okay, obviously. And one of the things you're going to want to look at as you're going through this, okay, and there's going to be 2 reasons why shill bidding goes on. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this, okay, you know, at the beginning of the auction, it starts out at $1, and then someone bids it up to $1.04, and $1.30, and it gets real from here. $2, right, for a cleaned Brillo padded coin. $2.07, $6. Okay, now we're in probably obscene money territory. But take a look at the bidder, guys. 0 feedback from this guy. And about 10, 11 years ago, eBay made a change. Okay, it used to be that you could see the entire username of that eBay account. Now, it's abbreviated. You have the first letter, followed by 3 stars, and then the final character of the eBay handle on here. So you have this individual, okay, we'll just assume that, you know, it's a friend of Northeast Auctions, with 0 feedback all the way up, okay, and then so the pricing all of a sudden takes a dramatic turn. We went from $6 to $500, and then it jumps up to $600 for crying out loud, and then the brave and the bold, pulling a card out of the DC Universe hat. $79.99, $7,999, which this day and age can buy a relatively decent automobile. Yeah, I have a bunch of 1918s. If someone's looking to trade up, you know, like a 4-year-old Toyota Corolla, I am all for that. But here we have another bidder, okay, and this is what they call fishing. We have another bidder because they saw some sort of activity happening. They're like, oh my God, this has got to be a legit error, guys. It's like $8,000 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a few bids. So we have K ***5 put in $8,000, $8,300, and it just keeps going up. And bam, $10,400 is the top end that this guy was willing to go. And as you can see, we're talking like seconds apart. This was a last-second auction. Now, the 0 feedback buyer put in a final bid, and it was probably a bid that was probably like $12,000. All right, let's just assume the worst, because it's virtually untouchable. But it ended up at $10,500. Now, you mean to tell me a guy with 0 feedback that you would trust this person to pay you $10,500 for a coin that's worth, maybe on the best of days, 2.5 cents? No, I don't think so. So, there's two different scenarios that we're looking at here. Okay, we obviously have some unscrupulous activity with a zero feedback buyer, but how about the individual with a feedback of 58? Okay, the feedback is low enough that you could go super sub-nuclear and just completely destroy your account with only 58 feedback. As a secondary, you read that right, secondary shill bidder. So you have two shill bidders going kind of back and forth, possibly. Or the K star 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 5 buyer might actually be a legitimate buyer. All right, so there are a few things going on. Okay, let's use scenario 1 in which 0 feedback guy and 58 feedback guy are both shill bidders. Now, why in the world would they go through all the trouble to bid this thing up to $10,500? I'll give you a second to figure it out. All right, so if you guessed market manipulation, you are absolutely right. Okay, so market manipulation, let's say this coin hypothetically sold for $10,500. All right, let's say somewhere down the road, a similar coin, it may be a different date comes up. All right, that's also going to put kind of like in the back of like, and this is more geared towards the novice people of eBay in general, because this happens on everything on eBay, not just coins, but you know, even regular retail goods. Toilet paper, for example, is shill bidded even to this day. And what this is going to do is factor in artificial market manipulation on coins from this particular seller. And you never know that the same freaking people come up, S80 feedback, comes up and artificially bids every other coin that looks like this, with the prospect of trying to reel in someone to hit a bid. All right, it's just that's like a common practice. So that's if you have like a 2 or 3 party kind of like shill bidding operation going. Another thing to keep in mind is that, okay, well, this 0 feedback person right here is a genuine shill bidder. Okay, a fake account of sorts. And then you actually have a legitimate bidder in K star 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 5, Mr. 58 Blue Star, come in, and actually this person was interested in bidding all the way up to $10,000 because they didn't know any better, that this is a coin that's clean and worth about, well, nothing. And then you have this final bidder at $10,500. So what happens now? Okay, the plan seemed like it didn't quite work out as well because you have the guy with 58 feedback that conceivably put in this massive bid, but you still had your shill bidder that topped that. Okay, so where do we end up here at this point? Well, it really comes down to it in this way. The seller, Northeast Auction, can actually reach out to the highest bidder before the 0 feedback guy and say, hey, my #1 bidder retracted on this sale. Okay, would you like to buy it for your high bid of $10,400? That's the kind of like the hidden dark ages, kind of like the mystery behind the scenes type of stuff with shill bidding. It's like, you know what, we're going to extend out as far as this guy goes, okay, and if it's a lot of money, then we're just going to go ahead and send him a message and say, hey, my high bidder dipped on me, he didn't pay, and he doesn't want the coin. Would you like it at $10,400? Now, the odds are, at this point, it's going to be like, oh, well, no, I don't want it anyways. So what they'll do is the seller will file a claim against this top guy for a non-paying bidder, so that way they get their fees back. Because automatically, when they sell for $10,500, you better believe the invoice for the eBay fees on that listing is huge. So the only way that you could get that back is by filing a non-bidder claim. So that's kind of like the 2-part session of how shill bidding works. So another thing that you guys should do, if you found that maybe you're bidding up something and you know a market value, okay, you've gone through and took the time to actually research other coins that are same in grade, similar in appearance and everything, that have sold by going through the completed auctions, whether it's here or Heritage, is that you'll research your seller. Okay, so we have, you know, this coin right here. We're going to go back into the listing, And then we're going to actually go and check out Northeast Auction. So we're going to click on their feedback. We're going to take a look at their profile. And, you know, these numbers are very helpful. Okay, so we have quite a few positives. Okay, so this person has done quite a few transactions. Okay, neutral. It's right here. And then finally, negative. Okay, you have quite a few negatives. They're at 99.2%, which in hindsight is not scary. Okay, anything, I guess, anything under like 98.5 would be kind of a red flag, especially for an account this large. That's just more problems than what it's worth. But when we go down the line, and let's say we get to some of the other things on here, like some of the other negatives, we have this one first negative. 1896.0 Morgan Dollar Choice BU toned colors proof like, without, you know, I'm not even gonna click into anything here. It's got the item number. This person said seller relisted coin but hasn't refunded my money yet, and the reply is refund within return request was issued. There is no option but to refund you. All right, so I guess it's resolved, but that's kind of shady. You don't repost something until the initial buyer gets refunded. And by the way, you could always ask for a refund even if the seller discloses that refunds aren't or returns aren't accepted on a certain item. You are covered under the eBay protection. And PayPal covers you to an extent. All right, so let's see if we can find the next, I guess, negative or something to that effect. I can tell you this right now. Based on what I've seen, I haven't seen any high dollar coins on here. It's all a bunch of little $2 to $10 type stuff. And that's a huge red flag as well. I mean, if this guy was legit and they sold a bunch of like $1,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 coins, you would see that splashed in. Okay, so this is obviously kind of like a low-end operation. And you can just tell right away that based off of the activity on screen here, that it doesn't take a whole lot of listings to pump up your feedback score, especially when you're dealing with a lot of $5 to $10 coins on here. But you know, it's like, here's one here that sold for $19.50. A 1917 Lincoln Wheat penny cent, Gem BU red. Does that look familiar to you guys? That's an awfully clean 1917. And coin collecting is tricky because there's a lot of uneducated, kind of like, you know, beginner type collectors, and it's our job as professionals to try and enhance the experience. But you can tell right away that this is clean. It's got no luster. All right, it's splotchy. You got a lot of the original old brown oxidation on there. It doesn't look like these coins down here that have visible luster on each one of those examples. So yeah, this one is a dud, and it happened to sell for nearly 23 bucks. Now this is on a lower end scale, but you know, again, you have to be absolutely careful, and you got legit bids on this one. Okay, so it's conceivable that this seller has nothing to do with the shill bidding on the cent that I highlighted at the beginning of the video. It could be that they were, you know, but there is nothing in their feedback that indicates any high dollar sales. I haven't seen anything over like 30 bucks yet, and we've looked at 75, 100 items. Feedbacks on here. So doing your research in advance of your seller is absolutely important as a preventative measure to determine the validity of said retailer, because that's important, because if you don't do that. So here's one here, a 38D Lincoln Wheat penny cent, high grade, listed as high grade, but in person was noticeably cleaned. That has spent $9.49. You gotta be absolutely genuine in these listings. Yeah, it's been cleaned. So it appears like the one indictment on Northeast Auction is they sell just absolutely dirtbag coins that are cleaned. And you know what? They might have cleaned all of them themselves because they could see the market activity. If they're popping $5, $10 a piece for a coin that is worth no more than about a nickel, okay, that's problematic in this in this, hobby, this profession to a lot of people. All right, I could click on another coin here, and here's a 35-piece dollar. That's looks clean. Everything's clean, man. This person loves a little good scrub on all their coins. It's high polished. Okay, there's no luster on this one. Man. All right, so at least if this seller is not popped for shill bidding, which is entirely possible because there hasn't been any recent activity on high dollar coins. The one big negative with this seller is a lot of clean coins. Okay, clean coins command generally about a 50 to 60% market in comparison to what the true market value is for problem-free coins. So I hope this kind of helps. And I know you guys, I know I had mentioned like heritage auctions and stacks. The shill bidding that goes on with those companies, because there's a distinct difference when you're selling coins through those companies as opposed to eBay. eBay, you go on and you as the customer, the client, have full control over the listings and everything like that. You do the placement, you do the types, and you do the HTML ads and everything like that on the listings. Whereas on Heritage or Great Collections, you actually have to consign it to them. They take a look at the coin and then they post it. So as a seller, you have no control over the product that you put on there. Okay, if it's visibly clean and you had submitted a 1918 Lincoln cent that has been cleaned and just crapped on, they're not going to take it. That's obvious because a lot of these companies will grade those coins first if they have the value. Okay, and then they'll go ahead and consign it onto auction. 3-4 weeks out, 2 months out, whatever the case may be. Where the shill bidding comes into play on those big companies is you'll have like 2 phantom buyers, and it's real easy to join up, and they'll bid up the coin to create artificial market manipulation on some of those coins, whether you buy them or not. So let's say if they did that, the big reason would be, oh, they have coins that they do that sort of thing on, and then there you go. It's all ancient history. So eBay, you just have to be really mindful of the bidding activity that's going on. Don't pay more than what you're afford to pay on there, because oftentimes, like on the last minute, just to win the auction, okay, you'll throw in a nuclear bid last second of $500 on a coin that you want to buy for around $50. Come to find out that you have a shill bidder on the back end throwing in a bid of like $450 or $600, and then there you go. The rest is history. So anyways, guys, that's kind of like a look at shill bidding. Just beware. It's never going to go away. There is no watchdog group that kind of keeps eye on stuff like this on eBay. But just use good caution, okay? And make sure you keep yourself protected. Even as a seller, there are things that you need to watch out for. And don't be afraid to block bidders. You can do that, especially problem bidders like in the past where you've encountered some sort of shilling activity or some weird like, oh, I'll buy it and then return it. And then they send you some crappy card, and it's like there's no way to combat that. You're going to lose out because eBay does side with the buyer, 90% of the time. Okay, you have to battle really hard as a seller. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for joining in on this video. It was certainly a pleasure, okay? And again, as always, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for instant notifications for any future uploads. You will get first-hand access, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and as always, that's right, Coinaholics, we are discovering together. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the hobby, and practice safe eBay. All right, use protection. You guys take care. Have a good one.